This is a Mistrial. Hello YouTube, my name is Ricardo, Lino, and I'm a wheel addict. This video is a tutorial of how to do a Mistrial. And what's a Mistrial? Let me show you. Let me just make my rail in here. And here. And then here. And then here. And this is a Mistrial. A Mistrial is when you mix a misu grind with a royale. The back foot goes as a royale and the front foot goes as a misu or a makio. They usually go together, and this is a Mistrial. Mistrial can be done from this side, regular Mistrial. If you come from this side and jump over the rail or the ledge and do it, it's known as a top Mistrial. And then you can do it forward or alley-oop. Of course, you can always spin true spin, you can spin into it, just like all these things, and then land here. Now you know what a Mistrial is. First thing, when you want to learn how to do a Mistrial, you need to be able to do a royale. For you to do a royale, this part of the boot and the frame need to be touching the rail or the ledge. Basically, when you want to grind, one of your foot, which is the back foot, usually needs to have 2 points of contact with a grinding surface. You see the rail? Here. You see? You need to have the boot and the frame touching. Also, you need to be able to do a misu. The hardest part for some people is that when you do a Mistrial, one of your foot is grinding switch. Why? The royale foot will need to be the right one and the sole foot will need to be the left, or the opposite, like the royale with the left and the sole with the right one. That's what makes this trick a little bit harder. So there's 2 ways to learn this trick, in my opinion. Either you can go with your misu side, and if you're able to do a misu, let's put the rail back on. So if you're able to do a misu, which is something like this, you start putting your feet together. Your feet need to be close, and then you leave all your weight in the sole foot. If you're doing it as a misu, you leave all the weight in the front foot, and you start by putting the back foot closer. Something really important in a Mistrial is your knees need to be as far apart as they can, and that's what also is going to allow you to get lower. By being lower, you're gonna have a little bit more control and you're gonna feel safer, because if you fall, your center of gravity is lower. You're closer to the ground, it hurts less, right? I think that makes sense. So now we know. If you know how to do a misu, if you want to learn how to do a Mistrial, you put your back foot closer, and even if you leave most of your weight in the front foot, you put your knees apart. I would say while you're learning, you can leave 70% of your weight on the front foot and 30% on the back foot. Of course, once you do the grind properly, you want to do it 50-50, which means half of the weight on the front foot, the other half on the back foot. Woo, it just fell. My rail is just not happy here. So now you know, one of the ways to do it is doing it your misu side. Back foot goes like this, then you put your both feet together, knees apart, 70% of your weight goes on the front foot, 30% on the back foot. You try to control it, and slowly you start making it 50-50. Half of the weight on this one, half of the weight on this one. Now, the other way to learn it, I think that's how I learned it, it's by doing a royale. So I usually royale with my right foot. You need to learn how to put the front foot in this position. Why was this safer for me? On the royale foot, I had a lot more control, so I felt like if I would miss this one, here or whatever, I could still save myself, because I could step on this one and just... So for me, that was the easiest way. With time, I ended up getting my misus also on this side because of the Mistrial. Always really important is when you do a Mistrial, you need to keep your feet together. If you put your feet far apart, it's still a Mistrial, but it doesn't look good. That's my opinion at least. So when you do a Mistrial, feet together, knees as far as you can. Put your knees like really far apart with your feet together and you'll be low. Just like I told you before, if you go low, means it's safer for you. You don't get that much hurt if for some reason something goes wrong, because you're lower to the ground, lower to the rail, you can somehow grab the rail easier, you can feel safer. You start just like on the other one, but with the opposite foot as 70%. So it would be like 70% on this one and then 30% on this one. If you miss this one for some reason, you can still go out. The good thing about learning it like this is if you go more on the royale foot, you can also learn then the negative Mistrial and all those different ones. But that's going to be a different trick to learn later. The same with the alley-oop Mistrial. Those are different tricks and you can learn those later. Let's go back into it. The best would be if you could sole with one foot and royale with the other foot. If you do that, if that's the easy thing for you, then the Mistrial is the trick for you. That's what happens to me. Nowadays I can do misus and macus really good with my left foot and that backslide really good with the right foot. So Mistrial is just an easy trick for me and that's why I'm explaining it here. But if you feel like your left foot or your right foot is kind of blind, then choose your stronger foot, put 70% of the weight on it, either if it's like as a misu or as the backslide, and then slowly go from 70% to 50-50. That's the goal. If you're going to be doing the trick on a ledge, let's use the box as a ledge. Whoops. If you're going to be doing it on a ledge, this is a back Mistrial, which means that this foot goes sole, not a topside, just a sole. And then this one, if you put too much weight on the back wheels, you're gonna feel a little bit sticky. So when you do these, I would say just don't put all the weight on the heels, because if you put the weight on the heels, what's going to happen is this one is gonna get sticky, and then you're going to a misu. Again, if you're doing this trick, you don't want to put your back foot like this. This is not a Mistrial. This is an ugly misu. It's not really a misu. It's not a Mistrial. It's an ugly misu. So if you're gonna do a Mistrial, feet, yes, together, but your knees, check this, my knee would be going here, here, and the other knee would be going here. So knees far apart. If you're gonna do these with your knees far apart, the advantage comes now, and that is my ledge. If you want to do a top Mistrial, this is a top Mistrial. Really? Wait, sorry, it doesn't smell that bad. Anyway, if your skates smell too bad, I'm gonna give you a tip right now. You can always put them in the freezer. Just take the liner, put it in the freezer, and it's gonna kill the bacteria that makes it smell. You learned something now. Anyway, let's get back to the tutorial. So, if you wanna learn top Mistrial, imagine, could you do this with your knees together? No, you couldn't. Because if you keep your knees together, you're gonna be rolling with this foot, and it's gonna look something like this. Ugly. Oops. My curb doesn't even want me to do it like that. So, front foot as a topside. Now check this one. I can't go too much like that or like that. So if you're gonna do a topside, for you to be able to do topside, you need to do it with your knees apart. Also, my feet, again, goes together. See? This is a top Mistrial. Feet together, knees apart. Easy. In my opinion, rail, it's the easiest place to learn this trick. Coping is also not too hard, especially if you do it at topside. If you're gonna do a regular Mistrial on coping, it's kind of weird, because you need to spin the whole thing. And sometimes, if you miss your front foot, it hurts a little bit more on coping. So, coping, the easiest one would be a top Mistrial. Then on rail, it doesn't matter. Topside or regular Mistrial would be easier on rail than on the ledge. If you don't really feel comfortable with the rail, you can go for the ledge. But the ledge then, just a regular Mistrial. Sole foot in front, royale foot. Usually it's one of them is switch. I don't know which one you're gonna do switch. One of them is switch. While you're learning, the switch one usually goes like 30% on it. The strong foot goes 70%. And then slowly, just like I said before, you wanna slowly go to 50-50. The good thing about this grind is if one of these foot is doing a switch grind, slowly you're gonna lose the switch on that foot. At least that's what happened with me. Like I told you before, I started by doing on the royale foot and putting my front foot switch, and nowadays I think it's mostly because of this trick. My Makio switch and my misu switch, it's not a switch anymore, I think it's my regular side. I think there's not a lot more to say about this grind. What you need to do right now is to put these things on your feet, go out and shred them. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be doing more of these tutorials. I can do also tutorials for other tricks, or if there's anything that you're struggling with, just let me know. Write me a comment down below and let me know what you want me to teach you or what can I help you with. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if the subscribe button is red underneath this video, if it's not really this color, it's a little bit more like reddish. If the subscribe button is like in this color, you need to make it this color. Basically, if it's red, it means that you're not subscribing to the channel. What do you need to do? When you click on the subscribe button, it's gonna turn white. If it's white already, that means that you're already subscribing to the channel. And then what you need to do is click on the bell on the side of it. And when you click on that little bell, that means that you're gonna get notifications every time I upload a video. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Now it's done. Cheers, guys.
Vou viver até quando